When the Son of Man comes, will he find any faith on earth? We are reading today the shortest of the New Testament books, the third letter of St. John, and we heard about a third of it already. It would take you probably a minute to read through the whole thing if you wanted to set your mind to it. And there are two themes that we're hearing about today. One is prayer, and the other one is about supporting those who are sent to evangelize. And the third letter of John is sent to, I think the chap's name is Gaius, who is one of the leaders of the churches in Asia Minor. And he's encouraging Gaius to continue to help those whom John has sent and other churches have sent to evangelize, to give them, to take them in, to support them, and then help them also as they go on to continue to evangelize. He's doing this because actually there's another chap called Diotrephes, who is the leader of the local church, who is putting barriers. Diotrephes has become a little Hitler, who has become a dictator in the church and is refusing to accept John, is refusing to accept the missionaries, and is throwing the missionaries out and throwing those out who would support the missionaries. But the church is missionary. That's what we're here for. Mary, she is the first missionary, and she accepted the missionary Jesus Christ in her womb, and then took that missionary into her home and supported that missionary Jesus Christ as she was growing up. And then after he left, she was continuing to support him. I'm sure mostly with her prayer. And then after the death of Jesus and at Pentecost, she was again supporting the missionary, the body of Christ, the apostles, as they prepared for their mission, and she was there with them as they started off on that journey. And she is still there with us as we go on our journey as missionaries. So the idea of us being missionary that's a given. The church is missionary. We as members of the church, we as church, you as church, because you are church, are missionaries. And we are saying it is our duty to welcome men of this sort and to contribute to our share to their work for the truth. It's our duty to do this. And this weekend, for those of you who receive our weekly bulletins, if you've subscribed to that, we'll be sending out a report on the church's finances. On Sundays, well, not Sundays nowadays, after Mass here, you'll be invited to give as well. We're invited to give, and we can see that as something separate from our life as Christians. You know, we put something in the bucket, in the basket, just to allow the priest to keep the lights on. And it's we have our faith, and we've got what we put into the basket here. And it's as if they're two separate things. But what St. John is telling us is they're not two separate things. They're one and the same thing. They're part of our discipleship, part of being disciples, part of being members of the church, part of being our missionary commitment is to support the mission. It's our duty not only to support those who come and preach the gospel, but to support the mission of the church. And so he's encouraged them to give, to do that. We are to contribute our share to their work. We can't all be those who stand up front and preach the gospel. We can't all be those who go out. We can't be all, we each have our different place, but what we can all do is support the mission. And the offertory, the collection that's taken up, is part of that. It's part of your discipleship. Not separate and added extra. It's one whole of being a disciple is your giving, so that the mission of the church can continue. Also along with that is the prayer. Pray continually, says Jesus. It's what Mary did before the Word became flesh, so that the Word could become flesh. It's what the church has done and continues to do, so that the Word may become flesh. Our prayer and our giving.